listening to the Mark Petroni radio program, heard exclusively on News Talk Saga 960.
And we are back with more on News Talk Saga 960. So very glad that you could join us on this Thursday edition of the Mark Petroni Show. We have Miles Kristen on the line. Miles is a journalist / activist living in Wisconsin, keeping a close eye on the Antifa people. And apparently a lot of these people have been getting treated with kid gloves at the court level, even when they assault people in authority, like politicians, like legislators. What's going on with Antifa down there in Wisconsin, Miles?
So yesterday, as they call themselves, Mixed O'Reilly was acquitted of all charges for last summer when they assaulted State Senator Tim Carpenter, a openly gay Democrat state senator from Milwaukee. And this guy's actually been moderate on a lot of issues. What happened was there was an individual walked into a bar restaurant and had been extorting them for money and other restaurants for money. He walked in with a megaphone and a baseball bat. Police were called. He was arrested. That night, protesters emerged outside the state capitol ready to rip down 2 statues from the state capitol. And the state senator was just simply filming the mob of people as they were gathering. And then you see these 2 individuals running up to him with fists and start pounding him. They actually sent him to the hospital. And it turned out that one or both of these individuals actually worked for the Mount Horeb School District. One of them at least was a guidance counselor, if I'm not mistaken. And one of them, I believe, was given deferred prosecution a few months ago, where it said basically if they take an anger management course, all of this will be dropped from their record. And then the other individual went to court yesterday and was basically found not guilty, even though they're on video assaulting a state senator.
All right, so yeah, this is in Dane County. Where's Dane County, just for those of us who don't know Wisconsin?
Dane County is where the state capital of Madison is. It's in I would say southern Wisconsin, right in the center, just north of Janesville.
All right, so the state senator is Tim Carpenter, as you mentioned. So he testified at some point during the trial that as the crowd closed in on him during a midnight protest over police brutality last year, just before some in the group began to hit and kick him, he thought, "Holy cannoli, what's going on? What's going to happen?" Well, what's going to happen is you're going to get your ass kicked by some crazy people. So
That's absolutely insane, too, because there must have been a lot of people filming what was going on. On top of that, there's CCTV cameras everywhere. And then what happened is they ripped down a statue of an abolitionist immigrant who died fighting against the Confederacy, and a fictitious statue of Lady Forward, which is this symbol of women's suffrage. They ripped down these 2 statues because a deranged man with a megaphone and a baseball bat had been threatening a restaurant and had gotten arrested. And this is actually the same exact night where somebody else threw a Molotov cocktail at the jail. And also a woman claimed that MAGA hat-wearing Trump supporters lit her on fire, which the FBI investigated and went through all the footage from all the CCTV cameras in all of downtown Madison and couldn't find a single image to corroborate this woman's story.
Well, this is a good message to liberals, because they're not liberal enough for the likes of Carida O'Reilly, who, I don't know, is Carida a male, female, or some other gender? Because he's 34-year-old.
I believe the proper term would be this was a transgender woman would be the
proper nomenclature. Okay, so this person.
Nomenclature, yes.
so this person is green hair. I mean, okay, fine, I don't care. Who is alleged to have sparked the attack by rushing towards the state senator Tim Carpenter after seeing him taking video of the protesters. So here's a guy who is a lefty, right? Tim Carpenter, but he's not left enough for these deranged lunatics in Antifa, is he?
Yeah, and on a side note, earlier in the week in Madison, an armed gunman carjacked a car. The police were able to track down the carjacker moments later, but did not pursue the vehicle. The car got out of Madison. State troopers saw the car and the car's accomplice in the other car that was used in the carjacking. This was an armed carjacking, and they decided not to prosecute or not to pursue. So basically, carjacking is legal, assaulting politicians is legal. And now I told you off air earlier, 10 years ago or so, there was this incident where I kind of poured a beer on some state reps, and it made national news, and all the Democrats came out and said, this is awful, this goes too far, this is egregious. I had to pay thousands between a lawyer and court fees, and I even had to pay for the dry cleaning, and it made this, everybody on the left was like, this is so terrible, this is so awful, especially the politicians came out, and there was huge media coverage, but beating up a politician, and there's been maybe 2 or 3 news articles on this whole story from beginning to finish, and you haven't heard anything from people on the left really coming out and saying that this was egregious.
Yeah, okay. So the story that was printed on this describes this person as a woman charged with attacking state senator. But is it? I mean, I'm still confused. I do know that the individual has green hair. That's all I can tell. But I'm
not up on the lingo with the young people and what the MX
you
is.
Are young
really
people. You are young compared to me. All right, so let's go with the story. A woman. I'm just quoting the story here. I have no idea if it's the right gender or not. A woman charged with attacking State Senator Tim Carpenter during unrest at the state capitol in June. And this followed the murder of George Floyd, was found not guilty by a jury. And the individual's name is Carida O'Reilly, a 34-year-old from Madison, who had been charged with felony battery and misdemeanor. I don't understand. This was a jury trial, and everybody saw the video of Carida kicking the crap out of Tim Carpenter, and they still did not find the individual guilty. I don't understand. What's there to... Isn't this like an open and shut case? How come this person walked away without being found guilty? How does that even happen?
Because the majority of Madison has kind of lost their mind. So when they picked a jury trial, they probably found a jury that consisted of mostly incompetent or insane people. And, the majority of the jurors are in favor. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And, the way they say, it was a Black Lives Matter protest in response to George Floyd is what a lot of the newspapers are saying. It's like, not exactly. George Floyd's death was actually more than, a month earlier. There had been riots in Madison after George Floyd's death, for days and days and whatnot. But this specific, incident that night all really stems back to the guy with the baseball bat and megaphone who was trying to extort restaurants and got, arrested and thrown in a cop car after he was resisting arrest too. And he had a baseball bat in his hand,
Well, my takeaway from this is that this individual, the state senator Tim O'Reilly, who is a Democrat, and I'm gonna assume Carpenter is a Democrat, probably a hard left dude. Okay, let's face it. But even they are not safe because the protesters are deranged. I don't know what they are, like lunatics. You cannot be far enough left for these people. I don't. What is he like, or she, whatever, a Maoist? I mean, what would have satisfied this individual? Nothing. Nobody. They just want to destroy. It's like these people are like zombies, man. What? And yet here they are. I know. Why isn't this person paying the price? I'm really confused. What is up with this? What was the reason given for that? I don't understand.
And the craziest thing is these are the exact same individuals who are going to, yell about everything being white privilege till the cows come home. But then when they go to trial, they don't get they don't get charged. I mean, they get acquitted or they get deferred prosecution where it doesn't go on the record. Well, if they really want equality or equity, as they talk about, then they should be, tried just as hard as everybody else. But because they have the right politics and the right backing from the right groups of people, they're not going to be, treated the same. They're getting off literally scot-free. And then you've got somebody who maybe, is arrested for a small amount of drugs, and they can go to jail for much longer.
All right. So this, you go down in the story in the State Journal, the Wisconsin.
Great news, UW. 9 out of 10 students, faculty, and staff are now fully vaccinated against COVID. But that doesn't mean we can let our guard down. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and stay home if you don't feel well. If you think you're experiencing symptoms, COVID tests are available on campus. And if you've held off getting the vax, get the facts at covidresponse.wisc.edu. That's covidresponse.wisc.edu. Then schedule yours at University Health Services. Come on, do it for UW. Great news, UW. 9 out of 10 students, faculty, and staff are now fully vaccinated against COVID. But that doesn't mean we can let our guard down. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and stay home if you don't feel well. If you think you're experiencing symptoms, COVID tests are available on campus. And if you've held off getting the vax, get the facts at covidresponse.wisc.edu. That's covidresponse.wisc.edu. Then schedule yours at University Health Services. Come on, do it for UW.
This is the Wisconsin State Journal, right?
There's the State Urinal and the Urinal Sentinel, as I call them. The State Urinal?
The Urinal.
State Journal,
State Urinal. Okay,
yeah.
So I'm reading part of this. O'Reilly uses they, them pronouns. So
here you are, right now, wanting more. If it's a more fulfilling career you're after, Marquette University's direct entry MSN program in Milwaukee or Pleasant Prairie can help. Designed for non-nursing college graduates, the program makes it possible to earn a master's in nursing in less than 21 months. So if you're ready to serve the greater good as a Marquette nurse, set your education in motion today. Search Marquette Direct Entry MSN to apply.
For 40 years, Michael Myers has haunted this town. He is the essence of evil, and evil dies tonight.
Halloween Kills, rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent, in theaters and streaming only on Peacock now.
O'Reilly does not use he, she. O'Reilly uses they, them. And
it's important that we don't offend the attacker.
Well, I guarantee you they're going to be offended because that's just what they do. They're professional at that. They're professionals. That's all they do is be offended. And then when they resort to violence, as they did, kicking the crap out of this guy, Tim Carpenter, they get away scot-free. So there's something really seriously wrong with the United States. The justice system has been so corrupted, so perverted, that even people who on video are seen committing a crime walk away scot-free. What is wrong with that picture, man? That's like Fall of Rome type stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you take one look at Madison, and they have this mayor named Satya Rhodes Conway, and I mean, this woman has allowed the whole city to basically turn into Skid Row, and then of course our governor Tony Evers and Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. I mean, these guys have been terrible for the state of Wisconsin. Didn't even follow through on any of their campaign promises. And
right.
Yeah, Wisconsin's a strange place right now.
All right. Well, here's another part of the story. When the group approached Fairchild Street and stopped by some barriers, O'Reilly, the person who was on trial, observed, quote, a white man standing on the corner with his phone out. They allegedly saw his eyes narrow and that he got a smirk. So that's why he got his ass kicked. First of all, here it is, a white man. Okay? Here's a white man on the street, on the corner with his phone out. Well, that apparently was enough, more than enough to trigger this lunatic. And then they saw his eyes narrow and he got a smirk. Carpenter's demeanor, O'Reilly testified, seemed to be that of an authority figure. O'Reilly guessed Carpenter could have been an off-duty police officer, unquote. So somehow, that's what this thing is using to justify kicking the crap out of this guy. I mean, the fact that he appeared to have been an authority figure and he was white. And so I guess that was enough for the jury. You have a white guy standing on the street. He's got a phone in his hand and his eyes narrow. While he deserved to get his ass kicked. That's the way I read this story, or based on the story that was printed and the testimony that was given. For fears of doxing, a term referring to the publication of private identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent, O'Reilly testified that they and another person, Hamer, approached Carpenter to inform him about not wanting to be recorded. Hamer's testimony corroborated O'Reilly. So these two people apparently approached the guy, this white man on the street with his phone, and said they did not want to be videotaped. Whereas I guess he kept on videotaping. Video evidence depicts both O'Reilly and Hamer running to Carpenter before a "leave my phone alone" can be heard. and the screen goes black. But there's still security video out there that shows this guy getting hammered, getting pounded.
I just don't understand this mindset people have, and I've dealt with this for years. That people think that you don't have a right to film in public, and it's like you have absolutely every right to film in public.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this guy, but you know what it was? It was justified on the pretext that he was a white male on the street who apparently appeared to be an authority figure. And
well, if he had just simply had blue hair, then he would have fit in, you know.
Well, let's face it. They were looking for something to justify him being one of them. And so certainly a dude in a suit or a white guy on the street. So what does that tell you? I mean, it's so if you're white walking around, you might as well have a big target on your back. So that justifies, because, by the way, Carida is white, by the way. So why would it matter? Yeah. I mean, unless Carida identifies as some other race. I mean, am I missing something here?
Well, on top of that, you know, what the funny thing is, like, what they weren't charged with, because the news article makes it sound like she was leading the crowd, and it's
Excuse me, you just called her she. Carida refers to itself as they.
Right. I don't even know anymore. But the individual they write about the individual as if they were leading the crowd. Well, the crowd went and destroyed 2 statues, you know, they ripped down the statue of this statue that stood for women's suffrage, and for some reason poured baking soda on it. Don't know what that was all about. And then the other one, I've talked about it before. It was the abolitionist immigrant who came here from, I believe, Norway, fought against the Confederacy, died. They actually ripped the head off of that statue and threw the statue in the lake. And then I think somebody literally, the Bart Simpson-like character was found, who the person took the head actually was found like a month later. They found the head of the statue.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thank you for sharing this with us, though, Miles. I appreciate this. It's crazy.
No problem.
It's another crazy story. This is my takeaway is that the justice system has gone so woke that it doesn't it's not blind anymore. Justice is no longer blind. It's been corrupted by the hard left and woke crowd. That's it for me on this edition of the Mark Petroni Show. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's do it again tomorrow, shall we? Join me then. By the way, support our sponsor, Better Contracting Services. You can check them out at bettercontracting.ca. If you need any roof work done, if you know somebody who needs some roofing work done, they're terrific people. Mike Graves does a terrific job, and they support this show. So Support them, you support us. You know, that's the way it works, my friends. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
No radio? No problem. Stream us live on saga960am.ca.
The rich, balanced, and spiced fall flavor you love to look forward to is finally here. Starbucks.
This is just so fucking rude.
Okay.